In this video, I'm going to explain how you can view mappings on Etrack. So viewing your mappings on Etrack essentially allows you to select a particular unit and to see what evidence you've got which has been mapped against that unit already. So this would be useful if you're working on your apprenticeship, if you're working on your portfolio and you're wanting to identify what evidence you might want to gather next. Your assessor is involved in the planning process, so they'll often help you pick out tasks or sort of give you an outline of a structure for some evidence to produce. But if you're wanting to select your own assessment, if you want to see, well, where's the gaps in my portfolio, and then you can sort of pick your own assessment, then this tool is particularly useful for you to allow you to see whereabouts in your portfolio you'd want to gather evidence. So the first step is to select on the Mappings tab, so that's in the Etrack navigation bar. You'll then get your first drop down, which will be for your qualification. So you may have more than one option here, in which case you might want to work through them. But this particular framework has only one qualifications part of it, one framework part of it. You've then got a second drop down, which would be to select an individual unit. You do have show all, but I would recommend selecting particular units so you've got all the detail there. So let's select on Unit 2, Project Initiation. So on this screen, you've got a list of the criteria. It's got in bold before each group which type of criteria is. So this criteria is performance, and this is knowledge. It's then got each individual criteria listed after it. And in this column, it's got the evidence count. Now this is a demonstration account, so it doesn't have any evidence added to this portfolio. So you can see it says 0 out of 2, and it's all a dark orange colour. If there were some evidence here, it would show, if there's one bit of evidence attached to this criteria, it'd show you 1 of 2. So that means you've already completed one piece of evidence which has been assessed to prove that you're competent at this particular performance point or this knowledge point. If it says 2, you've got 2 counts of evidence, and it can also help with the colours because the lighter the colour, the less evidence you have to gather for it. So if there's two pieces that you need, it's going to be a dark orange, and if there's one piece missing, there's a light orange. Once you assess evidence against this, it will also expand this column. So to the right of this, they'll then create different columns for the assessment method or the assessment type. So if you've got a PRS, personal reflective statement, it will show another column with the heading PRS, and it will then have the file name that that evidence has when it's been uploaded to your portfolio. If there's another type, say a witness testimony, it'll have the letters WT for witness testimony and another column to the right of what would then be PRS to show that you've got different types. So this view also allows you to see what different types of assessment methods you've used, and ideally there is a variety of different assessment methods used within each unit rather than just relying on the same type of assessment for the whole unit. So that allows you to see if you've got witness testimony, if you've got personal reflective statement, perhaps you'd want to look at another type of evidence before this unit's closed off. But you can see all of that information from this view, and then you'd want to, you can select on a different unit to work through units to see for each one what evidence is there and where the gaps are. So why would this tool be useful? So if you've got some evidence in your portfolio already and you want to pick your own assessment, you want to make some progress, you could use this view. You could see where there's a gap is. Okay, perhaps there's only one count for the first couple of points here. What you could do is you could then think about a time where you've performed those skills in the workplace. Think of that particular task that you've completed, and then you can then gather evidence on that task, which that you could then submit as evidence, and you could map it against these criteria. So you're working with a gap, you're first of all identifying where the gaps are. You then think about a time where you've completed a task in the workplace which would demonstrate those points, and then you can then go and gather some evidence on that task, submit it as evidence, and map it against these points. So you can start to fill the gaps that are in your portfolio by using this tool to identify, first of all, where the gaps are.